Okay guys, we're about to refit the raw water impeller, total 9 block then. So all this stuff coming out of it right now that you can see is impeller lube. Chuckle to yourselves. Good. What we need to stick this back together is the gasket. So this is the gasket. We had it for it again. We had it from French Parts, I believe it was, and that is the part number for the. This is the Yanmar 2QM15, and the part number is 104 211 42090. Yep, I read that weird. Deal with it. So this is going to go on the back here, and I'm going to put a super thin coating of Yanmar on there. In the previous video couldn't find the nozzle for it, so I'm going to put a tiny little bit, very weak contact, just so I don't want it all splurging on the inside here. I've replaced the bolts, the machine screws. So these are M4 times 8 or M4X8 machine screws. They are what that means is M4. It means they're 4mm wide and by 8mm long. That's as complicated as it gets. They sit in the back here. They've got very soft heads on them, so that's why I'm replacing them with these. But I'm also I've got the old ones as spares as well, in case I hike these in somewhere and lose them. So handy hints I picked up when taking this apart was, when I first took it off, I did make sure not to move the wheel at all when you first take it off. So just undo the bolts, undo everything off it and take it off as is. Then when you take the back plate off, hold it just like this, so it's super easy to see your orientation, and take a photo of it so you can see which way these little arms are going. They're bending, so that, because invariably when this has been off, this has probably been off for about 3 weeks now, people have been coming in here and sort of grabbing hold of it and moving it around. The arms, you can see how they super bend here and then sort of straighten out again. That's how it gets it, how it builds its pressure. As they spin around, they compress and jet that water out through the exit. So yeah, having a quick photo of it when you first took it apart is really good. I've used this sort of, I bought a refurbish parts kit that came with a new impeller. Oops, new impeller, new gasket, and the sort of lubrication substance. When I took this apart, I could see that the impeller's got plenty of life left in it, so I'm going to leave that run until the end of the season. I'll keep this one as a spare along with this impeller gasket, so that should all be good to go. So I'm just going to put this on now, just to sort of spread it all out as evenly as I can, and also squidge out any bits I don't need, because I really only want a very thin coating. Yeah, I can see that that's upside down in comparison, but it's coming straight back off anyway. Now I'm going to let it sort of set a little bit more. Should be fine, so we'll come back down to 2, 3. Okay, so a couple of minutes later now, this should be squared away. So there's a little bit of an indentation here, marries up with that compression, which in theory all marries up lovely. Actually does. Good, so that's the first bit. Just going to do exactly the same for the second. It's been a few minutes now, so let's go for sticking this together. So got the impeller pump back in, the raw water pump back in. So it wasn't too bad. Attach the hoses first. Well, put this on, put the bolts on super loose. They are a 13mm bolt on this, so I'm guessing it'll be the same for you guys. Put it on so they were sort of held in place so I can move it about a fair bit, and I got the hoses reattached. Okay, knocked that off for a bit then because my arms were everywhere. I managed to use my bit because I didn't have anything to knock it. Like, ideally we could do is sort of cinch it up tightish so it's just sort of enough friction to move, and then tap this whole casing out. Didn't have anything here that and I didn't want to cause any damage to it, so I managed to do something similar where I just sort of snack the big adjustable up in here and just use that to sort of drive it across with it quite loose with that spanner on, and then ready to go. So that's sort of tighten it all up nice. So that should do it really for the back of for the front of the engine. That is what I've removed from the front. The impeller's gone back on, the zinc has gone back on, the thermostat's gone back on there, and the only thing left to do is put the rear zinc back on. Unfortunately, the gasket that came for that was the wrong size, so stand by for the next video where we figure out how to make our own gasket.